Day 3. And I think I'm getting down to about original ground level down there in the bottom. But I've got to work the edges of that pile there. You can kind of see. And boy, I haven't found much right here on this side. Seems like most of the good stuff came back there towards the back, so we'll get on it. I actually heard this thing before I saw it. Quartz makes a unique sound when it grinds against other quartz. We've got a point. Now what'll be funny is when I wipe that off and it's not quartz, it's flint, which is very well possible, but I'll take it. I think it is quartz though, I'm not sure. That's pretty bad when you can't tell between white quartz and gray flint. I don't know what that's made out of yet. I think quartz. Let me give that a little wash. That's a cool looking little thing there. Looks like it's maybe been reworked. It's an odd shape, but it's cool. Let me clean it up. Yes, sir. Love it. Got a nice base on that thing. Not sure why it's so lopsided, other than maybe something broke when they were knapping it, or maybe it was reworked later on for a different purpose. It's an interesting deal. It may have been used more for a knife later on. Maybe what we're looking at. I'm not sure. Sometimes I ramble and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll try to identify this one for you. This is a really good example of why looking for flaking is so important to trying to find these points. I went through, I think, 6 screens without an artifact, apart from just maybe a couple flakes. But in this one screen where I pulled this point out, there's numerous flaking and a piece of pottery. So even in a disturbed pile like this, you know, when I'm running through this screen and I'm just not seeing any of that white quartz flaking pop up, there's another piece. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be a point in there, but there's probably not. But when I dump dirt up here and there's flaking popping up, you can bet that I'm looking extremely carefully, because there's a chance. There's another big piece right there. So, and that all came out of the front end of this pile, so that's good news. Maybe this over here has something. All right, next screen, we got a big broken base. Kind of that rose quartz color. Too bad that one's broke. It's been a pretty one. We'll keep it anyway. I didn't even touch a thing. And look what flew out. Oh, that one looks like it's got a needle point on it. That looks like a really pretty mountain. Wow. Gosh, that thing is so sharp. It's a bit of a uniface too. It'll be the second one I found in here like that, but I guess it worked for them. That one looks like it's really translucent. Got a lot of quartz crystal in it. Let me clean it up. And there it is. It's got a big old snapped off edge on it, unfortunately. Sun's not even out, but we'll try this anyway. Very pretty piece of material and unifaced. And what I mean by that is if you look down the top edge, you see that it's rounded, but if you look down the bottom, it's flat pretty much. They work the edges a little bit. So every now and again they pick up a piece of material that was thin enough where they didn't have to work it from both ways to make a thin point. It was already flat on one side, so they just worked on this side. Cool find. More mountain. All right, working the front end of this pile, and I've got another big broken off one. that, that's the base of it right there. I'm not quite sure what to call that one. It's got that little indentation in the bottom. Have to check on that when I get back to you. I'll clean this up and show it to you a little bit later though. It's unfortunate. Too bad it's broke. Look at that point. That's not a point. Fooled me for a second though, but I'll show you why it's not. Even though it probably could have made one if somebody wanted to. Kind of has the shape, don't it? But when you look down this edge here, that's just a flat, squared off break. No signs of napping at all. It just happened that way. So some of them will fool you. Alright, I am done. Didn't have as much time today, but we worked the edge of this a little bit. And still got this back corner. It's still pretty high. Hoping that it's got something, but here is what we did. Not too shabby. Yep, I'm thinking that's not a point. I'm thinking that's a blade. Just because it's got that one ear on it. And I don't know what to call that. I'll let some of you guys that have done this longer than I have throw a name on that. If I had to guess, I guess I would call it some sort of a Moro mountain. Seems to be the majority of what's coming out of here. And a cool little piece of pottery. We're not done. We'll be back. All right, back for a very quick visit. I'm talking 30 minutes. Threw a few shovel loads on, I think second screen, and I've got a point. And it looks like a good one. That one hid from me for a little while. That is another another snap-eared Moro mountain, but a really nice point on that one. Really nice. I hate that ear is gone. At least it ain't a, I don't think it's a new break. I don't think anyway. Alright, I'll clean that up and show you a picture. Still producing. An intact one here, but boy, it does not look healthy to me. It you can see the base on it there, but look how thick and crude that thing is. So I don't know what to call that. Maybe one they gave up on. Sometimes it tells a little bit of story. I don't know much about napping, but sometimes you'll find a lump or a bump on the side of one of them that they just couldn't work around. It might be what was going on right there. But I guess you'd call that all there. I'll take it. Else, because man, there's a lot of flakes that popped up in this one. I got this. And that is crude. It's got the old football shape. Got a little bit of a shoulder on it. Got a little needle point. It's just as thick as it can be though. I don't know. Maybe like a scriber. Maybe they were using that to scribe something. Don't know. But it was something. Alright, short hunt, quick wrap up because it started raining. Got that big old piece, which is cool even though it's ugly, because it does have a big stack on it. Right there. They just couldn't nap around that. Trying to get that off to thin this piece out. You see they thin this side out real nice, But at some point, you got to take it off this side, and they just couldn't do it. So this piece probably got dropped. There's a tip I got that I didn't show you. Be interesting to see if any of the pieces we found so far needs a tip. And a cool piece of pottery, and then you saw them. And the first piece of modern trash I found in the pile. That's it for now. All right, guys, we are at the end of the hunt in this little pile of dirt. And I don't have a lot of material left to run, but I still just got the hope that there's one good one left in there. I think there is. We'll find out here just shortly. But as you've seen all these artifacts come out of the pile, the points in particular, it ought to be pretty obvious that not all points are created equal. Why are some of them left kind of crude and others really, really well defined? I think there's probably two reasons for that. The first would be the material that was being worked. Not all material is made equal. The flint point that I found in the last video, really, really well defined, really pretty. Flint is an easier material to work and a little bit safer to work than quartz. You can control things a whole lot better. I really learned this about 6 or 8 months ago when I picked up flint knapping, and I did it so that I could understand these points a little bit better. And I didn't master it by any stretch of the imagination. But the one thing that I really learned that stood out to me is that as you work these points down and they get smaller and more defined, you find that you are one strike away from disaster. Now, I'm making them purely for artistry's sake. So I'm willing to push the envelope to try to create something really beautiful and uniform. The Native American knappers, they were making them for a utilitarian purpose. It was a tool that they needed to survive. So at some point, they got that stone down to a usable shape where it was good enough. It would work for what they needed it to do. But on some of these points that you find, it's very obvious that there was a dance going on between artistry and utility because they pushed the envelope purely for the sake of art and pride. They took a point that was been an effective tool and they risked it all to make it thinner, more balanced, and more beautiful. That's pretty special when you find a point like that. Just something I wanted you to think about. It's been rolling through my head as I've been digging through this pile. All right, so just the fringes of the pile left, and I've taken a few shovel loads off the back here. And I got this. Now, I don't know if to call that anything, but it sure looks like it's been planed off there for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting looking though, so I'll hang on to it. It might not be anything, but I think it is. Now that is an odd little deal right there. Made out of flint. I don't know what in the world they were trying to do with that thing. I don't know. But it is napped all the way around it, but just in no real discernible shape. Maybe that was the tip of a drill. That's hard to say though. Don't look quite right. But they were sure working on it for some reason. Piece of that flint. All right, we got a partial. Looks like a broken point. And then this was pretty cool. You don't see this much. That flint that I just dug a little bit ago, this is what it traveled in looking like. This is cortex. And if you look in the middle, you'll see that gray flint. Sometimes the flint pieces still have a little bit of that cortex on the outside. It's kind of a white chalky looking color. But that's kind of neat to see it in its original state. Once again, I found something that I want to call it an artifact, but I'm not positive. The pitting on the end of that seems to me like that might be a hammerstone. And that's pretty smooth. Worn pretty smooth. So a hammerstone would be what they were using to nap the points with. I would call that one plausible. Kind of interested in what some of you other artifact hunters, if you happen to catch this video, you might say about that. Just let me know. Well, oh my goodness. I wanted to quit so bad. I have gone through so many screens working this edge around and just not a whole lot. But my gut feeling just paid off. Oh, and it looks like a beauty. I've not touched it. Look at that gorgeous point. Oh gosh. Look at that. So perfectly shaped. Got a little breakage right here on the back part. Just the tip right off of the end there. Oh man. I knew there was one more here. And I think that's going to be a pretty rose color. Hard to say, maybe a, yeah, kind of an orange color. That's beautiful. That looks like a Savannah River to me. Man, I knew there was one left. Oh, that made the whole day right there. A few thousand years just waiting on me to come along.